So look at the person next to you and be like, it's gonna get real. All right, look to the other person, be like, I'm sorry, you're my second choice. So with that, someone sent me a message the other day, right when I was trying to prepare for this. The best things in life are right on the other side of this view. I'm not trying to diminish what a lot of us are walking through, but the circumstances cannot dictate our mindset. The prison mindset is the casualties of my failures are the building blocks to my prison. But the purpose-driven mindset is the casualties to my failures are the building blocks to my platform. And I think 10 years ago, when we first started this concept of Roc Solid Foundation, not a single person there that helped put the very first one on understood the impact when that beautiful little girl, Jillian Jeske, came around that corner and she saw that swing set for the first time. There was something happened when I shifted from having my mind around it to wrapping my heart around it. So I get offended, so what I do is I come back and retreat. I'm like, I'm putting it here, you're not gonna get to me today. Then the other thing is, someone says they're gonna give us money. Guess what? They don't always give you money. I'm mad. Because don't they know we're trying to change the life of kids with cancer? What starts to happen is that it builds a prison around me. You cannot break down the walls by yourself. Every day I have to make the decision, which mindset am I gonna live in? Thank you guys so much. Well, thank you all for having me. It's always an area of concern for me when anytime they show a video, if I'm wearing the same thing. So, I'm not, so we're already winning, right? So who likes to win? I like to win, right? All I do is win, win, win. No, I'm just kidding. Stay humble, stay hungry. Look, you guys are like, what is he talking about? All right. I'm super excited to be here. I can't see where Tamara went. These lights are. There she is right there. Tamara and Gary, thank you just for your heart, your passion, your call. And I want everyone else to kind of just rest in this moment to where look around you, to the ribbons on the seat, to the stuff behind you. None of this happens by accident. None of this happens by accident. So thank you for your heart. Thank you for your heart for your community, for just raising your family in faith. I'm truly inspired anytime I get a chance to be around both of you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, round of applause. It's okay to celebrate too. I'm not going to get too close to this stage because I'm scared I'll fall off. But I like to move around. I like to hear people. I don't have a towel. I did have to take my sweatshirt off in case I started getting hot. So I'm excited to be here. I'm very open with what I believe. It may not always be right, but the fact of the matter is I think it's important. You heard earlier, like, who am I, right? Also is like, what do you believe? And I believe in a couple things. I believe in Jesus Christ, first and foremost. So if you do not, come see me afterwards. But I'm telling hey, you guys just clap louder for Tamara than you did for Jesus. Let's clap for Jesus. Come on. I'm just kidding. Tamara, I love you. I love you. Sorry. I'm like, oh, my gosh. I told you, it's going to get real. I believe everyone has a story to tell. I believe that everyone is born great, but few practice greatness. And I think a lot of it is, fear, because they're scared of what people are going to think. They're scared of what people will say. The other part is, guys, we serve the God of a universe. If you're in business right now, any entrepreneurs out here? Entrepreneurs, yeah. Entrepreneurs solve things, solve problems. Jesus solved the largest problem possible. And that's for us to spend eternity with our Father God, right? So entrepreneurs, I love business. I love merging Jesus and our business together. First and foremost, so I'm going to tee you up a little bit. I'm going to ask permission if I can get vulnerable. I think vulnerability is something as leaders that we have to start with. That can't be on the back burner. You got to be totally transparent and vulnerable with people. So I'm just going to ask, I'm going to tell you a story today. I'm going to be vulnerable with you. I'm going to be real. And so first and foremost, who am I? I think we have a photo of my beautiful family up there. So those are my everything right there. The lady standing right next to me is super beautiful. She thinks I'm pretty good looking too, which, in case you're wondering, due to the two things on the side of us, she really thinks I'm good looking. So it's okay to laugh. He's like, oh my gosh, man. Just kidding. All right, so that is Annalisa, and I love the idea of ministry. My wife is not here today, but she is highly involved in Roc Solid Foundation. She's at home right now with our two amazing kids, but she's the generator for me. I would not be able to stand here right now without that strong, courageous, beautiful woman. Her name's Annalisa. We have Cameron Michelle right next to me, right next to my wife. She's going to be 9. She thinks she's 26, which I think that's just a common theme, but she is strong, she's courageous, she's one of a kind, she's uniquely made for a moment such as this. And let me just encourage you right now, if you're a dad in the room, you have to speak that over your daughter. You have to, because why? The world's going to be coming at her. One day, some guy's going to come up and be like, hey, girl, you're fine. You're like, what? That's not what my father says about me. So it sets the expectation. So please, please, please speak life over your kids. And that's Braxton Gray Newman. He will be the starting shortstop for the LA Dodgers one day. He is amazing. There we go. Somebody likes the Dodgers. It's always tricky in different cities. So he will start for the LA Dodgers one day. But that's my family. That's my crew. So I'm a follower of Jesus. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a cancer survivor. And cancer survivor is extremely important. Now, I don't rest my identity in cancer. There is no cancer from here to here in my body. But I do think that your pain points to your purpose. Hands down, brokenness, shamefulness, resting in that sometimes, because we don't want to rest in it, right? But I'm telling you, that brokenness and resting in that moment, that allows Jesus to show up. With the busyness of the world, like we tend to block some stuff out. I'm an entrepreneur through and through. I'll tell you that in a second, but I was the kid in 4th grade that sold lollipops. I had a backpack of candy up front and my one school book probably in the back. School was not my best subject. That's what the first day of school, my dad was like, hey, how was it, bud? I was like, it was good, but I don't think I want to go back. So I've been chasing and dealing with that my entire life. So I'm also the leader of Roc Solid Foundation. And what Roc Solid Foundation does is we build hope for kids fighting cancer. Why is that important to me? Because I sat right there as a child. And so with that, I think that with me being diagnosed with cancer, it's given me a unique perspective. Me sitting in the brokenness of cancer has given me a unique perspective. And so when I was diagnosed, I was diagnosed with pediatric cancer at 3 years old, a form of liver cancer. It was hepatoblastoma. With this, I was a normal 3-year-old kid. Took me to a 3-year-old checkup. I think it was a standard checkup, and the doctor put his hand right on my liver, and they ended up taking out 3/4 of my liver. Your liver does grow back. Does anybody know that? Not many people know that. My parents never told me that. They're like, you had liver cancer. So the alcohol in my life, I was like, oh, you can't. So they protected me a little bit, but that's a whole nother story. So I'm like, my dad's like, would you like a beer? I'm like, I can't have a beer. He's like, your liver grows back. You should have Googled it. So that's a whole nother. I'm not going to air all my dirty laundry, but now you got a little bit of insight. Oh, man. So, but when I was diagnosed, I had a praying granny. You might have a praying granny or a grandma or mom. I want to be clear, too. If you didn't, you can be one. So break that chain right now. If you didn't have a praying granny, be a praying granny or be a praying grandpa or a mom or a dad. Because I would not be here without this beautiful woman called Granny. You can call her Granny, too. But she used to pray that when I was diagnosed, she used to pray this verse over me, a couple verses. And she kept telling my mom, she kept telling my dad, like pray this over him every single day. And so, like, as I grew up, she would just say it to me. But I think this verse for me, it's Jeremiah 29:11. It's a beautiful verse. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Mind you, she would pray over this when I had tubes coming all out of my body and spoke it in Jesus' name. I have plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. The other part of it too, that's what she used to pray. And then this is what I added a little bit later. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. Come on. I like you and I are right on. You guys, I'm starting to wonder, but just kidding. This is, you will seek me and find me when you seek me with all of your heart. This amazing, beautiful lady would pray this over me over and over and over and over and over. My mom and dad would pray this over up to her dying day. And so this lady was a huge, huge push. She was granny. When you did something wrong, you definitely knew you did something wrong. But I was diagnosed at 3 years old, second child, 3 years old, riddled by cancer. My family, they gave my parents a less than 10% survival rate that I would be sitting here right now. So fast forward a little bit more. I fought it till I was about 5, took out 3/4 of my liver. I received chemotherapy, all of the cocktails that they give. The other thing is, I want to make sure, they always told me I would never have kids. So, God is still in the miracle business. At least he was 6 or 9 years ago, right? He still is today. So don't let, the doctor's like, oh, he'll never have kids. I had to take my wife out, fiance, and say, hey, listen, first of all, she thought I was going to be a home builder. That's a whole nother thing. I'm like, oh, I want to start a nonprofit, haha. But then I had to take her out. I'm like, I don't think that I'll ever be able to have kids. My dad didn't tell me that for a long time for multiple reasons too. But there was like, I had to take her out, and she still decided to marry me. She's like, it's okay, we'll adopt, we'll do whatever we have to do. So again, speaking this over your family. So I was second child, 3 years old. Fast forward a little bit more. My dad's sister, second child, 3 years old, was diagnosed with leukemia. We were in it. A couple years. Okay. Freedom. But then it came back into the other side of the family. And the other, I'll get to that. Second child, 3 years old. Shannon fought it just like I did till the age of 5, got put into remission. Fast forward a little bit more. So there was 1, there's 2, now there's 3. My dad's brother, second child, 3 years old, was diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor. And we lost Nicole. My grandfather is a senior pastor. So like my dad would always like say something to him. He's like, how can you believe in a God that does this? First of all, God doesn't. We're in a broken world, right? Our bodies are uniquely made. That's a whole nother thing. But like the faith that my family showed for about 12 years straight in the throes of cancer. It doesn't have to be pediatric cancer. I think everybody knows someone that has been impacted by it. So there was 3 of us. Then there's 2 of us. Fast forward a little bit more. I was coming home from my freshman year of college, and I get a phone call from my mom, and my mom proceeds to tell me that Shannon had fallen out of remission, and the leukemia came back with a vengeance. We lost her before her 17th birthday. She was so beautiful inside and out. You're talking about uniquely made, and we had something in common. We both beat cancer. There was 3 of us, 2 of us, and now just me. I was standing, holding my fiance at the time when we laid Shannon to rest. And I was like, oh my God, it's going to come back and get me. I ran as fast as I could from cancer and from God. I said, bump this. I started to believe the lies of the enemy, like, what type of God would do that? And I ran. I made a commitment that day I was going to work hard, party hard, and play hard. I was the best at partying. I played the working. I should have done a little bit better at the working side. So also the one thing is my dad used to lean in. My mom decided to throw away cancer. She didn't want to talk about it. And there is something called survivor guilt. My parents have me, but my aunts and uncles don't have their kids. So we're navigating all of this, and I'm like, I'm going to work hard, party hard, play hard. But my dad used to always say, hey, listen, if you beat cancer, there's nothing in this world that you can't do, and you serve the God of the universe. I would listen to well, if you beat cancer, there's nothing. That gave me the mentality, but I didn't believe him that I had the God of the universe on my side. So I worked hard, started a landscaping company, sold that, started a construction company, sold one of them. I was sharing backstage. I was like, and then I started a site development company. And things were great. I looked good. Like, I looked really good. I had the boats, the cars, the machines, the dump trucks. Concrete was what we called gray gold. You pour it down, people walk on it. I poured that. You're walking on it. I made money. All I cared about in that season of life were those three things. I made good money, but I lost it. Jimmy Buffett has a song about it, right? It just was gone. And so in 2008, I was in the construction world, owned some real estate, and I ended up losing absolutely everything that I had been chasing. I chased everything that the world said I should have, but when I lost it, the world was nowhere to be found. So I'm sitting there, and it's a curbside moment. I think any entrepreneur or business owner has a curbside moment. And that's where I was sitting there. I had 2 cell phones, which that already told you my life was extremely complicated. I'm sitting there in this brokenness, my hands on my head. I can't pay payroll. I can't pay the vendors. What am I going to do? Totally lost. So I did what any responsible businessman would do, is I went to Costa Rica. Like, I saw it up there and said, look, y'all are like, is he being serious? No, I'm not. Like, but I called my attorneys. I called my accountants. I'm like, listen, I'm not running. Don't indict me. I don't know. Indictment just sounds really, really bad. I don't really know the meaning of it. I was like, I'm going to pay everybody back. But I just got to step away. I just got to step away. And like, I'm not running. I didn't know if I was running from or running to something. And a lot of the times in business and life, like that's that tension of ministry and business. It's like, I don't know if I'm running here or running to. In this moment, this was before Jesus, right? Which I would say that I was a Christian, but I really wasn't a Christian at the time. So I go to Costa Rica, and as I'm walking out the door, my mom is begging me not to go. I didn't know if they honestly thought I was a little suicidal. And so I was like, I got to go. Drained the bank account, went to Costa Rica, and on my way out, my parents always kept the Bible on the side of the table. And on the way out, I just grabbed it. Couldn't even fit in my backpack. I don't know why. I just grabbed the Bible. Another moral of the story is have a Bible out so your kids can see it. But don't allow it to collect dust either. This was not a dusty thing. My parents were in the Word. And again, if you didn't have that type of upbringing, be it now. Be it now. Go grab the Bible, get the dust off. Paper Bibles are great. I keep one with me at all times. So I went to Costa Rica, having fun, did some surfing. A lot of fun. And I ended up in the Caribbean side at Roc and Jay's Surf Club in Costa Rica. And I was in a hammock, paying like $2 a night. It is not like that anymore. It's very expensive. And I could hear the ocean. I had my surfboard, and I took a journal with me too. I don't know why. But as I'm there in that moment in a third world country, I lost everything. It sounds like a horrible country song. My girlfriend left me. We are in Nashville. I thought I was in Chicago. No, I'm just kidding. My girlfriend left me. I lost my trucks and lost my dog. It really does sound like, is the recording person here yet? Like, I want some royalties to that. So I'm there, and I'm sitting there, broken. And I was reminded of my granny. In that moment, that's not mine, is it? Because I didn't mean to keep mine up here. But I was reminded of my granny. And I didn't even know what it was like Jerusalem, what was it? Genevieve? No, Jeremiah. That's right. I didn't know where it was. I had to read the whole thing. If you read Jeremiah, he's called the weeping prophet. I'm like, this is not what I remember my granny about. So I finally found it. But what got me to that moment before, I got on my knees, and I was like, God, like, it's probably the first time I spoke to God. I I'm like, God, you made a mistake. You should have taken me, not Shannon. I was like, this is not what it's about. She was so much better than me. But in that moment, that's when I remembered my granny speaking this verse to me. I'm going to read it again. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me. Then the next word is like, I will listen to you. I will listen to you. I said, I ain't got nothing else to lose. And I pray, and I pray, and I cry, and I pray. I'd never felt so alone in my life until that moment. I was still broke, but I wasn't broken anymore. Because I believed it. And then what I said, I was like, there's got to be more to life than this. There has to be more to the story. I told you everyone has a story. There's got to be more to the story. Then you read a little bit more of Jeremiah. So I started at Jeremiah 29 at the very beginning. I'm not going to read all of it, but I'm going to read you this, Jeremiah 4. This is what the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, says to all those I carried into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon. Build houses and settle down. Plant gardens and eat what they produce. Skip down to 7. Also seek the peace and prosperity of the city to which I have carried you into exile. I felt like I was in exile. I know in business, in life, a lot of people feel like they're in exile. You have a dream, right? Plant gardens? What does that mean? So I'm on my knees in Costa Rica, and when I was kind of walking through planting the garden, the word hope was given to me. I've never heard the audible voice of God, but if I would say that I felt it, Holy Spirit moment, I didn't even know what that was. And I opened that journal and I wrote down the word hope on a piece of paper. I said, well, I've heard that you reap the fruit, right? Or you can have a bare fig tree. I said, I want fruit. So I planted that little seed of hope right there in Costa Rica. In exile, when I felt alone. And I'm here today to tell you, like, planting seeds, embracing the suck, if you will, that's okay. What does my God say? What does your God say? Plant seeds. Build houses. Embrace the brokenness, but plant right where you are. So I did. And the other thing is, like, this is the thing. And this is a gut check for me. It's like, I felt like God was like, I've seen your business. Let me show you mine. I'm going to say that again because right now, like even in ministry, you can be like kingdom work, and forget about the king. I'm telling you, like, I've seen your ministry, but give Holy Spirit, give God the room to show you his. And so planted the seed of hope, come back, still broke, not broken. Still broke, not broken. Come back, one of my buddies finds out that I was a cancer survivor. That's how much I did. I threw away cancer. They didn't even know I was a cancer survivor. Go to our local children's hospital, and I end up raising a couple $1,000s. And there was a grocery store chain that was there, and they raised 1-point-some million, but they let them go first. So I was in this awkward seat, if you will, as a kid seat. Upset, pouting, ticked off, whatever you want to call it. And I'm waiting my turn. You're talking about God-ordained moments. I hear this god-awful noise. There's an IV pole. Attached to it was a 3-year-old kid, bald as a cue ball. Attached to that was an IV pole and a mama bear hanging on for dear life. Coming around the corner, and they're coming in front of me. I'm like, please, please, please do not stop. They stopped. And he asked me what I was doing. I hadn't talked about cancer in probably about 11 years. Even in Costa Rica, when I came back, I still had no idea what I was supposed to do. But I told that mama bear exactly the story that I had been given in all the brokenness. And she started to cry. And she proceeded to say the words that changed my life forever, changed the trajectory. It's like, you give me and my husband hope that my son will be in your seat one day. I see that little seed. That seed, the thing about seeds is, right, like, you don't see all the work underneath the soil. You don't, because you plant it, you're like, grow. Why aren't you growing? It's not fast enough. Like, is it broken? I have a broken seed. No, you don't. It's got to germinate. It's got the combustion points. Combustion, yeah, it takes so much friction for popcorn to pop, right? And then it's this delicious thing. But it's that friction. It's the seed. It's the stuff that's underneath the ground. You got to get dirty, and you can't plant a seed without getting dirty. Some of us got to continue to get dirty. I don't like to get dirty. I used to. I still am on the build sites. My team calls me bougie sometimes, but that's okay. It is the white king. As soon as Tamara says one of my friends dressed in black, I'm like, it's easy. I don't have to think about it. So now you know my wardrobe. I digress. But I get back to what I'm talking about. But that hospital moment, plant the seed in all my brokenness. All of us have a story to tell. All of us have experienced some sort of pain or some sort of brokenness. But what if the brokenness is supposed to be the bread for someone else? What if the brokenness is supposed to be the bread? In that moment, I was able to help, like, through God. And I'm not trying to replace the Lord's Supper or nothing. Like, don't over-spiritualize it for me. But, like, in that moment, I gave a little piece of my brokenness to that mama bear. Only Jesus can take the brokenness and make it the bread. Hands down. So then I'm like, okay, yes, I'm crying, ugly crying. I get to the car, I'm like, I'm gonna love and serve kids fighting cancer. My dad, I love my parents. I told you I've been an entrepreneur. They're like, why can't you just get a normal job? So I lost my girlfriend, FYI. That girlfriend that I lost is that beautiful woman in the page, in the photo that was behind me. I proposed to her once. I told her I would never propose to her again. She ended up proposing to me. Yeah, some people are judging me. It's okay. I'm just kidding. So the brokenness can become the bread. All right, so I'm like, now what? For us in business, right? So I'm like, I had no nonprofit experience. I told you my goals in life were to be a developer, pour concrete, have a boat. I mean, all of the rags or all the stuff, riches in the world, right? So as I started to research on what I could do for kids fighting cancer, one of my buddies asked me to come build a play set for him. And he did not tell me that he left it outside for a year or that he didn't have instructions. Well, I ended up building it for him. This was not for a child fighting cancer. And as I built it and I got ready to, I swore I would never build another play set. I'm on my knees and I'm like dirty, putting that stupid anchor in the ground. It's hot, it's July, it's sweating. I'm cussing and fussing at my dad, free labor, right? So he comes, I'm like, he's really screwing me right now. Not my dad, but the other guy. So he's like, you can't leave, you got to finish the job. There's a beautiful little girl right behind me in the window that's been watching me the whole time. You just saw her blonde hair. I was like, ugh, putting it down. I said, I'm never doing that again. This little girl busts out, runs out, gives me a huge hug, hands me a check, says, thank you for letting me play. I look at my dad, I was tears in my eyes. I was like, I think I'm supposed to build play sets for kids fighting cancer. He's like, are you kidding me? Go work for the W.M. Jordan Construction Company, the railroad, the shipyard. I think I'm supposed to build hope for kids fighting cancer. So, play is not fancy, but play is focused. Your mission, your business, does not have to be fancy. It needs to be focused. What moment, what problem are you solving? Boil it down. Identify the problem that you're solving. When we were looking at what are we going to do before this moment, I was Googling everything. Google's a co-founder of Roc Solid. I got to be careful. They did not give me money, though. I said that in California. They're like, oh, how much startup capital did you get? I'm like, I just used the resources. I literally Googled everything to start a nonprofit. And then they ended up, not they, I digress. Anyways, I got to be careful when I say that. They're like, oh, Google. I don't want any lawsuits. It does not have to be fancy. It needs to be focused. Where are you at, Aaron? Can you come up here or hand that to me real quick? What moment, and as I Googled, that's where I was going. Sometimes you got to keep me straight. I noticed all these kids in hospital beds, and they were not smiling. Well, how do you make a kid smile? This was before, and then I got to getting dirty, building the play set. And that's the reason I tell you that is everyone has a story. Roc Solid Foundation, we build hope for kids fighting cancer. One of the main ways we do that is we build play sets for kids fighting cancer all over the country. But it didn't start that way. It was a little seed, a little dream that got planted in Costa Rica in the brokenness. And we built one play set. See, we had wrapped our head, and I think it said it in the promo, like we had wrapped our heads around it. We're going to build this play set, we're going to put it together, and then this little girl, we're going to give her a play set. She came around the corner, everything changed. Why? Because we focused on a moment. See, we want the movements. You're like, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a pastor, I'm a speaker, which all of that stuff's great. Focus on the moments, then the movements come naturally. Focus on the moment. What are you trying to solve in this crazy world? There's still good people out here. I was at CVS right down from my hotel. Guy was getting ready to pay for, trying to pay milk with his sister. She didn't have any shoes on. You could tell things were hard. So they check out, and the guy starts to kind of like bring the milk back. All it was milk. And the cashier takes his wallet out and pays for the milk. Don't tell me there's not good people in here. What are you focused on? I can't see you, but I know you're out there. People in here are trying to become better. What moment are you trying to solve? Focus on the moment. The moments create the movement. Planted, right? Embrace the suck. But I want to just get moving. So I want to show you how simple play is, okay? Now, work with me. I've done this with the toilet paper roll one time, and it's super awkward. What is this? Paper towel roll. All right. Hey, interaction, right? If you don't, some people probably don't know what this is, but it's okay. All right, you with me? It's a tough crowd. Just kidding. What is this? All right, there we go. Look, she's like, he's not talking about me. That's a flashlight. All right. What is this? Sheet? I don't know what bed. Tamara, was that you? I don't know what bed. This is a hotel towel. Sometimes I use it, and my wife is like, please don't take a dirty towel. All right. Do me a favor. Close your eyeballs. Focus on your most fondest childhood memory, your best form of play. Think about it for a second. All right, open your eyes. What just happened is play allows you to escape your current reality of what you're sitting in right now. See, somehow, some way along the way that we started looking at things as they currently are, not as what they could be. So, as a kid, what is this? Telescope. See far into the galaxies, right? What is this? It's a lightsaber, not saber. I said that wrong. You can judge me. I've never seen Star Wars. I'm so sorry. Look, I just lost. He's like, I'm out. See ya. Let's go. It can destroy any monster put in front of the kids. And this one, it's a cape, right? It can take out any villain, including cancer. My son still does it in his Skippies underwear. It'd be awkward if I did that right now, so I'm not going to. Y'all like mental images. Oh, my gosh. This is a cape that can fight any villain. Cancer's a villain. It's personal to me. The crazy part was it's been 13 years. We sold Krispy Kreme donuts for the first place that I haven't eaten Krispy Kreme maybe one other time. You sell that much donuts, it gets in your skin. Nobody works for Krispy Kreme here, do they? Just kidding. But the thing is, what I want to make sure that as I conclude, I want to make sure I'm not up here beating my chest. I'm up here showing you my heart of brokenness. And guess what? 13 years later, I'm still chasing that same seed. Because sometimes when we're given a dream and we plant it, please grow. It's not growing. Very rarely have I seen, in my experience, I can't speak for you, but if you have a dream, something that you've planted, if you've thought about it more than once, write it down. If you go to bed thinking about it, write it down. If you wake up in the morning, that's not just your brain going crazy. That's God's trying to get your attention. Are you listening? I tend to just talk too much and not listen. And God tends to remind me I'm still broken without him. Very rarely, idea, all right, where's the blessing? Where's the fruit? I just planted it. Does the blessing here? No. Is it here? Nope. What about here? Or over here? Very rarely does the idea produce the fruit automatically. All of this right here, ups and downs and overs and unders, mountaintops and valleys, right? The water's in the valley. And Tamara, I think, said it, and it was a very good I can't do it as good as you. I want to jump off the stage like Patrick Swayze, but I'm not. But it's like, whoo. Or it can be, whoo, whoo. But that's okay. Bread has to bake, right? That's just baking. I'm telling you, there's close to 16,000 families in this world, or in the United States, that get diagnosed with pediatric cancer. I believe that I'm called to love and serve every single one of them. Do I know how? Nope. Do I know where to find the answer? Yep. Most of the time, it's right on my knees, asking God, is this what I'm supposed to do? I almost left Roc Solid Foundation about a year and a half ago. Tamara helped me navigate it. I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something else. And my grandpa used to always tell me, you quit because you're called, not because it's hard. It was super hard. The last 2 years, I think I was sharing with Gary, I was chased by a tiger. All right, jump up here. I'm safe for now. Take a deep breath. Some of you all are in that moment feeling like you've been chased by a tiger. I just want to encourage you, dare to dream. Because for the first time in about 2 years, I feel like I can dream again. But I was reminded, though, of what fruit was being produced. In that same saying of I see your ministry, Eric. Let me show you mine. See, God has the tendency to have to remind, I'm pretty hard-headed. So now there's 16,000 families that are diagnosed in the United States. I truly believe we're going to allow play to defeat cancer for every single one of them. Now, I didn't say cure it, to defeat it. If we can allow one family to forget about the craziness and the chaos of cancer, and we can allow them to forget about it for 1 second, I've done my job. Focus on the one, what you hope to do for the many, and you will always arrive to the many. If you start out focusing on the many, you will never hit the one. You can't write 16,000 without writing one. Focus on the one. In your business, focus on that one customer and give them everything you got. Master the moment that you're trying to provide. Entrepreneurs, what do? We solve problems. Business owners, you solve problems. That's what we're called to do. But be attached to the vine. Make sure you know where your hope comes from. I can't do any of this without my God, my wife, and my families. I'm going to be famous in my own home first. I'm going to be famous in my own home first. I like on this stage, but I tell you what, the best thing I've ever been called besides husband, son, is daddy. One day somebody will take my job. That's fine. But they can't replace me as daddy or husband. So I just encourage you, if you're in the throes of business, focus on the one, Jesus Christ. Focus on the one, that one wife, that one husband that God gave you. Focus on the one. And nowadays, a lot of my friends have 5 kids, which is weird. I'm good on 2. So, let's pray over that right now. Just kidding. Do for the one what you wish you could do for the many. Master the moment. Making sure I jumped ahead a little bit. Speaking, so I believe the stories that get repeated are the ones you become a part of. The stories that get repeated are the ones that you become a part of. The other thing I believe is in this question, what if? I believe what if is the most powerful question that any leader, entrepreneur can ask. Because what if is action, or what if is fear? What do you choose? Action, there we go. Action is the sworn enemy of fear. So what if? What if we focus on the one, what we hope to do for the many? What if, by you attending this conference, by already choosing to improve yourself, you got to lead the me before the we, and you get flipped upside down sometimes in business, but by attending this conference, what if you have the opportunity to build a place set? Like right now. What if? You're like, what is he talking about? We have 25 what we call golden tickets underneath your seat that are taped to the bottom. Can you reach and look underneath your seat for me? This is not a drill. This is the real deal. Y'all are like, is he serious? And if you don't have one, there's a couple empty seats. If you get one, can you hold it up and come up front for me? All right, we got, there we go. Don't be scared, hold it up. You're like, action. Come on up front, come on. Yeah, y'all can, let's clap a little bit. How about that? Celebrate what's happening. They have no idea what they have signed up for. Haha. If you are scared, you can give your ticket away. But I promise you, you will not regret. Focus on the one, what we hope to do for the many. So over there, my team is going to be working. Becca, you cannot see her. She also likes to wear black. She's over in the corner. Everyone that has a ticket, I need you to hold tight real quick because I think we have a couple announcements coming. That is a play set that just fell, but it's okay. So, the way that we do this is we break things into section. We're going to build a play set during lunch break. We're going to show you, it doesn't have to be fancy, but it has to be focused, and it doesn't take a long time to change the world. So what we're going to do, I promise you all that received a ticket, you will eat. I promise you, you will not go hungry. And I know that we have a couple other people that can join in. The people that are not, get your phones out. You know that you've captured a moment when people pull their phones out and they take a photo. So I encourage you all that y'all are going to, even if you've never touched a drill in your life, you're going to change the life of another human being. We make it that simple. Simplicity breeds success. So, I know y'all have a lot of questions. So Tamara, where are you at? So anyway, guys, I'll be back right after lunch. Can I pray real quick?
Please.
All right. She said, please do. I have to touch a drill. I'm just kidding. Father God, we love you. I just ask that we rest in that right now. God, that you provide moments and you're still in the miracle business. God, I thank you for each and every single human being here, God, because you did focus on the one and it changed the many. And God, I'm asking that as we continue this conference and we deploy into the mission field that you've called us to do, that at least one person's life will be changed And God, I thank you for the people that are standing here, that they trusted me. And God, I thank you for Tamara and Gary, just their life and their love that they constantly pour out. And Father, bless this food in your precious name. Amen.